Lee Jones here from esports.net. I'm here with Humanoid after the end of the LEC Season Finals. I just want to say straight off the bat, obviously commiserations on the loss, but also a thank you for helping to make an actually really entertaining series. I think especially after G2 win basically every other split, a lot of people had kind of lost the hype, and it seemed like it was going to be another win for G2, but it was obviously very close. It was really entertaining, and there was a lot of moments where it looked like you guys could have come out on top. What do you think was the actual difference today that meant that you couldn't quite clinch it?
I think they just played better from mid game, late game. We don't really know. Yeah, we were just playing it bad. They didn't give us many fights, and we were just looking for fights all the time, and they just didn't fight. So yeah, then we were always on the back foot everywhere. They were first on every objective, and yeah, it was hard.
Mm-hmm. What do you think in game one, especially? That was the one where it seemed like you guys were basically like you guys were more or less in control at almost every moment of it, but just couldn't quite find the way to end. Why do you think maybe that was that one wasn't able to close out?
I think in that game there were many times where we had position on an objective and we just ran away and based, and they just walked in. If we just stay there in the zone, they can't really walk in and we win the fight. But we just recalled, gave them all the control, and then we had to face check again, and it was it was a hard fight after that.
Why do you think that was then? Do you think there's anything around like first game in an important final? Obviously, I saw one comment somewhere that was along the lines of basically like Fnatic is trying so hard not to make sure that the game isn't thrown that you're like passing up those kind of opportunities almost to avoid doing something too risky. Do you think there was maybe something along those lines? Maybe it's like game one, we don't want to do anything too risky just yet. We'll kind of be a bit more careful.
I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think we just don't really. I mean, they just know better than us what to do. That's pretty much it. We don't really know. Yeah, we don't really know how to finish games without fighting, I would say. Like how to have a good position on objective, because we always just win by fighting. Mm-hmm. And it's not a good thing if you play against a team that doesn't just run into you. They were just better than us.
Mm-hmm. Well, what do you think was the difference in game two then for you guys to be able to win that? Was it G2 doing that for you, running into you, do you think, or what was the difference there?
I think we just had we just managed to outplay them in team fights in that game, I think. And against their comp, it was once we get ahead, it's not hard to finish against their comp because they don't really have any comeback potential, I would say. So it's really easy to finish even if you don't play perfectly in that game. So I think that was the reason we were also outscaling them pretty hard.
Mm-hmm. You think it shows something in your guys' mental that you're able to come back after that game one then and turn it around in game two? Because especially, I'd imagine with the game one going for so long as well, and then coming out on the losing end eventually, I imagine for a lot of teams that could be quite disheartening. So was it? Do you fairly proud of the team how you came back in game two and were able to take that?
Oh, I mean, I don't think anyone was like tilted or anything after the first game. I think we all saw that it was pretty close. So there's nothing about the first game that would like make us play worse.
Sure.
Fair
enough. And on the mid lane matchup with Caps, then there's this whole thing about how I think still it's only one other mid laner that's beating him in a final. But how do you feel like you matched up against him today? Because it didn't look like, at least from a layman's perspective watching the finals, it didn't look like there was much difference really. It looked like you matched up to him, pretty much evenly. Are you pretty confident that you've shown enough that you can beat him in a final?
Yeah, I mean, I think for sure there's like only me and him that are like above everyone. I think a lot of the other players just don't really, know much about like later on. about competitive. I would say it's more of they're like good mechanics and stuff like that. I think, yeah. So I think we are just too above everyone else, I would say.
Cool. I guess maybe it's still a bit early to be kind of getting too retrospective, but do you feel like I guess immediately after that it's still been a successful LEC season on the whole? I guess like 3 second places against when it's G2 that's in first place that are so difficult to knock off. Is it still you're able to kind of be generally satisfied with how the season's gone?
For me personally, no. I feel like second place is the same as last place. So yeah, if you're not first, it doesn't matter where you went. Unless I guess it matters if you want to go to Worlds. So yeah, that's the only reason that it's better to be second. But if there was no Worlds, second is same as last.
Well, let me ask you about Worlds then. So is there what's the plan there? Is it literally do you got any days off at all, or is it just full steam ahead? Just put all the effort, all the energy straight into that now?
Yeah, I mean, we will take a few days break, I think, and we just go back in. I think the meta at Worlds will be completely different than it was now, so we need to get ready for that and figure out what we want to play.
Yeah. And how do you find it, or what are your thoughts generally, the fact that it's going to be in Europe this time? So does it, because I guess maybe it could be from like two angles. It could be nice to be comfortable. You can be in your own house for at least most of it, being in your usual routines and things, but then you obviously don't get especially where it's going to be in the studio as well. Maybe it could be hard to kind of get hyped for it and make it feel like it's an extra special event. So what are your thoughts on that all in general?
I mean, I would always prefer to be in another continent than Europe, for sure. I think, especially since most of it is in Berlin, where I'm just all year anyway. So it's like there's nothing new about it. So yeah, I usually enjoy the travel part of Worlds a lot. But it's probably fine, we just need to make it to Paris at least, so we can leave the usual place where we are.
Nice one. Well, we'll maybe just one more to wrap it up then. Just really any message for the fans that have been supporting you guys all year and those in the arena cheering you on today.
I mean, thank you for everyone. There's always a lot of Fnatic fans, and we will try to turn it around next time.
Sure, wicked. Well, we'll leave it there then, Humanoid. Again, commiserations on the loss, but best of luck in going into Worlds. I'm sure you guys are going to do Europe proud. So yeah, thanks very much for the interview, and catch you next time.